Hello everybody and welcome back to the fourth update of Southwest Florida International Airport, or RSW, in Fort Myers. We have a loaded update today, a lot of aircraft here on the mat, so we're not going to waste any further time. We'll get into the update here, beginning with the Spirit A320, filling in for an A320neo. This one came in from Detroit, and it'll be heading out to Pittsburgh. And then moving along right here, we have the Breeze A220-300. So yes, Breeze Airways does fly here to RSW. I've not included them in an airport update yet, just because the timing has not worked out. But here it is. Breeze is here and in an airport update. So yeah, they have two routes from RSW. It is Charleston and Las Vegas. So what they do is the morning flight comes in from Charleston, and it continues on to Las Vegas, then it comes back from Las Vegas, and then goes to Charleston, as you get the idea. So this one will be doing the later of the two, came in from Las Vegas, and it'll be heading out to Charleston. Very nice. And then moving into the American gates, so we'll begin with this A321 here in the stand-up to cancer livery, of course, as always. And this one came in from Philadelphia, and it'll be on the turn today, heading back out there. And so it turns out both the American Airlines flights here are overnights, so these will just be staying here overnight and then leading to their respective destinations in the morning. But our next aircraft is this American Airlines 737-800. This one will be on the O'Hare turn, but will of course be staying here in RSW overnight at Delta One. Just taxiing out, then we have this JetBlue A320 in the Forgo livery. This one will be heading out, just taxiing out to the runway, will be heading out to Newark. And unfortunately, some rubbish lighting here. That's kind of going to be the case here, just because with the peninsula design, and I'm not really able to line it up any better with the lighting. Just that the lighting kind of hits it at this 90-degree angle perpendicular to the direction of the concourses. Well, it is parallel to this concourse, but to the whole airport terminal itself, the light is hitting perpendicular, so that means on pretty much half these planes, it's just going to hit it on a place where I'm not going to be able to get the camera to reach around to, so it's going to be in the dark, which is really unfortunate, but it's just kind of how it has to be done here, unless I can find a different place to fit the light to, which isn't really possible in this spot until I get maybe a more proper table, but we'll see. I'm really kind of at a shortage of tables, but we'll see what happens in the future here on the MSP Aviation channel. But not to dwell on that too long here, we have the Delta A321. This one came in from Boston earlier, and is now pushing back for the return flight back out there. So really interesting that they have Boston service here on the A321 on Delta here. That's a bit surprising. I did not expect to see that, and that might be a seasonal service, because I did not see that in the summer season, so that might be a winter seasonal only. And yeah, that's really cool that Delta is doing that route here, so I'm glad to include it here on this beautiful Delta A321 here. And moving along here, we have these two more retro aircraft here, as the Delta 752 there. That was a 2007 release by Gemini, and the WestJet was a 2005 release for Gemini Jets 2. So some retro aircraft here. We'll begin with the 757-200 there, in the old breast cancer awareness livery for Delta Airlines. Beautiful model by Gemini Jets. This one came in from Atlanta, and it'll be on the turn. I'll be heading back out there to Atlanta. On the left here, top left, we have the WestJet 737-700. Gorgeous model by Gemini Jets 2. This one came in from Toronto Pearson, and also on the turn back to Toronto. And then it is the United A319 in the Evo Blue livery, filling in for an A320. This one came in from Chicago O'Hare, and it will be heading out on the service to Washington Dulles in a bit. So surprisingly not a turnaround here as I would have expected for this flight, but I'll definitely welcome it, as this is our only United aircraft out here today, although there are plenty of United services from O'Hare, Houston, Newark, you name it. United probably has it, except for LA, San Francisco, and I don't think they have a Denver service as well. So United has, or actually no, they do have a Denver service. It's also on the A320. So every United hub is covered here except for Guam, LA, and San Francisco. So got a lot of options to fly to RSW here on United. My camera is actually about to die here, so I'm going to have to speed this up a little bit. Here we have the Southwest Airlines 737-700 with split scimitar winglets in the Heart livery. As you can see, this one came in from Pittsburgh and is just now taxiing out for the flight to Columbus. Another pair of SWA aircraft. We'll begin on the right of your screen with the Southwest Airlines 737-700 in the Colorado 1 livery. This one came in from Baltimore, Washington, BWI, and will be heading out to Chicago Midway. And alongside this one, if it will focus, there we go, it is the Southwest Airlines 737 and MAX 8. And again, apologies for the bad lighting here. This one also came in from Chicago Midway, and will be heading out to Indianapolis. And here is the Southwest Airlines 737-800 in the Heart livery with splits, of course. And this one just arrived in from Baltimore BWI, and this one will be heading out to Indianapolis, although this one will be staying overnight here. So a lot of these are later evening flights here, so even though the lighting doesn't really describe that very well, that is the case for most of these, so that's why we have some overnights today. And how about this very beautiful trio of aircraft that I was barely able to fit on the screen? But we have all of them right here. Very nice lineup. And by the way, kind of a spoiler alert here, but every single gate here at the B concourse is not filled, but it has activity in some way in this airport update, either planes taxiing away or pulling into the gate, or of course aircraft at the gate. There is some sort of activity at every single gate, so that's a little bit interesting here. Quite special indeed. So we'll start with this Alaska Airlines 737-900 here on the bottom of your screen. This one came in from Seattle. This is one of Alaska's, I believe it's twice or thrice weekly, I'm not quite sure what it is. But Alaska does have some not too frequent service from Seattle, which is really cool to see here. The only nonstop flights to Seattle from to KRSW, so that's really cool. So this one, like I said, came from Seattle. We're doing the turnaround, heading back out there. And then behind that one, we have this Frontier A320neo. This is in the Baja the Whale Shark livery. And this one came in from Philadelphia. I'll be heading out to Grand Rapids. And then moving on behind that one, not a great shot of it, but we have Poppy the Prairie Dog A320neo from Frontier Airlines. This one came in from Trenton, New Jersey. And I'll be heading out to Denver. And naturally, we'll save the worst landing for last because it, of course, has to turn out like that. But we'll begin with this Air Canada A220 here, A220-300. This is filling for an Air Canada Rouge A320, a model that I would like to see made here because I could use it here at RSW. Or any Air Canada Rouge aircraft, actually. I know NG Models did one, and I really don't know where to find that one. I would get it if I could find it somewhere, but that is pretty hard to find nowadays. So the NG Models A221 for Air Canada Rouge probably not going to be showing up here anytime soon, but you never know. So this Air Canada A220, filling in for an Air Canada Rouge aircraft, came in from Toronto Pearson, and it'll be heading back out there. Then on the left of your screen here, our final aircraft is the Southwest Airlines 737-700 in the Missouri 1 livery with split scimitars, of course. This one just arrived in from Atlanta. Looks like about 2 hours, or about an hour late from Atlanta, rather. So, a bit unfortunate there, but we had to include it in this airport update. So this one came in from Atlanta and will be heading out to Pittsburgh later. So, I guess you can kind of tell a little bit of a pattern there with the Southwest aircraft. Is that they kept the same routes for most of these. They just switched up the aircraft for them so they wouldn't do turns, but I don't know, it's a little bit interesting there for Southwest. You know, they're an interesting airline in general though, so what am I even saying? You should come to expect it. But I love Southwest. They're a great airline. I like to fly on them more often. It's kind of hard to find many places to fly them out of Minneapolis. I would really want to fly them to Phoenix though, because our trip to Tucson, we do have to fly through Phoenix. I was hoping that we'd be able to fly in Southwest Phoenix, but that is not the case. And actually, while we're here in Fort Myers, because why not? Well, it's fitting for the airport. Another trip announcement that I have to make here, and it is I will be going to Florida. So I just did the Tucson one, and now we have another one. I will be going to Tampa. I'll be flying to St. Petersburg on Sun Country. So that'll be a fun trip. Flying into St. Petersburg on Sun Country, and we'll be flying back Spirit from Tampa TPA to Atlanta, and I'll be spending about, I want to say, somewhere in the ballpark of 2.5 or 3.5 hours, somewhere around there. I don't quite remember exactly what it was, but a good delay in Atlanta. I'll be able to check out the different concourses, do some spotting, of course, go on the train. So I'm excited about that. So I'll be spending some time in Atlanta, and then I will be heading back on Spirit. So that's not too great, but at least I'll be able to spend some hours in Atlanta. That's what I'm most excited about. But the Spirit flights won't be too great, but they'll make for some interesting trip reports, right? So we're gonna fly on 2 budget airlines there, so not great, but holiday airlines. That's what you're gonna get. So that's what we got for now. So I'm hoping in between these 2 Sun Country flights that I'm going to be taking the next 2 months, I'm hoping that one of them is in a Tide Pod livery, because that's the one livery that I've not flown on yet for Sun Country. I've flown on every single one of their liveries, except for the TUI livery, which they don't even have anymore, and the Tide Pod livery. And that is even including the Transavia livery, which I have flown on. So the Tide Pod livery is literally the last one. And I also flown on their 737-700. So every single aircraft type in their current fleet, and every single livery in their current fleet, except for the Tide Pod on the 737-800. Please, Sun Country, give me a good luck with that, even though it's likely at this point, I would say, because most of their aircraft are painted in the Tide Pod livery. Hopefully, YouTube doesn't demonetize my $0 here that I get for doing these videos by saying Tide Pod every other sentence. So, yeah, I don't make money yet, guys. I don't. I'm not getting demonetized anytime soon. Unless you make it that way. You have the power. So, yeah, that'll conclude this video. Sorry about that little tangent that I went on there. So that will conclude this update. And the trip announcement as well, I guess, that we can sprinkle in there. So I'll talk about it more, but I'll probably talk about it a little bit more later. Actually, here's another topic that I wanted to discuss. Eurowings Discover. So you may be wondering why I'm not including any Eurowings Discover aircraft in this airport update, because that's what I wanted to do with that Eurowings Discover A330 model that I just got. So it turns out Eurowings Discover is not going to be flying here to Fort Myers until December. So I guess they just take November off for some reason. I don't really get that, but you do you, Eurowings Discover. They'll be back in December, and we'll include them in some airport updates then, just because they're fun, and it'll include some wide bodies in here. So, that's something I'm looking forward to, finally including Eurowings Discover in airport updates. So with that, finally, that will conclude this airport update. So thank you all for checking it out, and I will see you tomorrow. As always, good night. Auf Wiedersehen.